Last week, Nintendo Switch owners were introduced to one of the biggest games of 2020, and it's coming very soon. That, of course, was Super Mario 3D All-Stars, a collection of three various 3D Mario games: Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. And a lot of people were excited for this, myself included. This is something that, well, we've talked about it a lot on the channel. Some people felt that it wasn't even a real thing, so it was nice to see this actually get confirmed and be a reality for Nintendo Switch owners. And like I said, the wait is nearly over for this game, so really 2 weeks after it was announced, you'll be able to play this game. But since then, some people have been a bit worried about this game. We've talked about this on the channel before. There's been a lot of things going on with a limited availability of the game. We've talked about the game selling out, and since then there's actually been a lot more things happening that just makes this release really weird for Nintendo. It makes for a really strange 2020, but I guess it's pretty much in line of what's been going on throughout the year as far as everything else is concerned. So in today's video, I basically want to talk about the latest updates with Super Mario 3D All-Stars, and then talk about this whole weird situation of the limited availability, because honestly, it's really starting to become a bigger problem than we first thought, and I'm kind of worried about this. What's going on, guys? I'm RGT85. I'm a little bit under the weather today. You can see my eye is kind of pink. I have a chest cold, but I'm still here to make videos for you guys. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you are new to the channel. But without any further ado, let's talk about Super Mario 3D All-Stars and why this situation is just getting really, really weird. So the way this video is going to work is I'm basically going to talk about all of the things that have been happening with Super Mario 3D All-Stars in levels of importance. We'll start out with the things that, well, I don't think are really all that important, and finish up with the things that I do think are important. The first thing is that we have finally gotten some more gameplay footage of Super Mario Sunshine, which of course released on the GameCube and is sort of a polarizing game. Some people really love it. You got some people like me that feel like it was a bit underwhelming, but maybe I'll turn the corner with this game. Now, a video went up on Nintendo's official Twitter account to showcase some more gameplay of Super Mario Sunshine, and I think the game itself does look really good. I think the graphics are really improved with these HD visuals that they are implementing, this upscaling of the game, because it really makes the game pop. The colors look a lot better. Yes, this is a Twitter video, so, you know, compression is definitely an issue, but I think anyone can see that, yes, this game does look substantially better than it originally did on the Nintendo GameCube, but some eagle-eyed people noticed something that was kind of strange with this. If you look at the control scheme in the bottom corner of the video, you can see that for pressing the X button, they still have the GameCube icon down below there. And this is rubbing some people the wrong way because, well, the game doesn't support GameCube controllers, so it's not like you'll be able to do that. Why couldn't they just make it a standard Nintendo Switch button? Some people feel that this is a bit, well, for lack of a better term, half-assed by Nintendo, and I can sort of see why they feel that way, especially when you look at something like Super Mario 64 on this collection, which, well, while it looks great and I think it will be a fantastic experience, it doesn't support widescreen support, which is really strange considering that, well, widescreen support has been something that modders have been able to do, so why can't Nintendo implement it themselves with Super Mario 64? Now, obviously, this collection is just an upscaled version of these three original games, but if you're adding in something like widescreen support for Super Mario Sunshine, why didn't you put it in Super Mario 64? Why couldn't you change the icons of the controller for Super Mario Sunshine if you have to go in and mess with things anyway, such as graphics and widescreen support? Like I said, this isn't a huge deal to me, but I did see a lot of people starting to talk about this, and it just sort of shows how much time and effort went into this collection, which, let's be realistic, probably isn't a whole lot, but I'm okay with it. Not a huge deal to me, but I did want to bring it to your guys' attention. But of course, the main issues with Super Mario 3D All-Stars has to be the limited availability of this game, and it just keeps getting weirder and weirder. We talked a couple days ago on the channel about how Amazon was now sold out of pre-orders for Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Well, now another retailer in the United States is also out of pre-order sales for Super Mario 3D All-Stars, and that is Target. So two of the biggest places, Target and now Amazon, are now sold out of pre-orders for Super Mario 3D All-Stars, the physical version of this game. Once again, you know, it's not the biggest deal in the world. There are other places that you can purchase it from, but really, really, this is kind of a situation to me because because you put in a pre-order with a website like Best Buy or Walmart doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get that pre-order on day one, and it doesn't mean that your pre-order isn't potentially going to be canceled, which, well, is something we're going to talk about in just a minute. I do get that there is a high demand for this product, and hopefully Nintendo will be able to keep up with this demand, but when you're seeing major retailers already being out of stock for this game as far as pre-orders are concerned, coupling that with the fact that this is a limited release both physically and digitally with about a 6-month window, it's a bit concerning and a bit strange. But what's happening in the UK right now is definitely a much bigger situation, and it's something that is very concerning about this game, because right now we have two stories about what's happening in the UK with Super Mario 3D All-Stars as far as the physical version of the game is concerned. First off, we do have a sizable online retailer, Shop2, that is currently out of pre-orders in the UK for Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Now, the appeal of a site like Shop2 isn't necessarily just to bring in people in the UK, but they actually ship to other regions as well, such as Germany. Germany doesn't have places like Best Buy to pre-order products from, so they usually import their products from places like Shop2 in order to get physical products of these games, because it's much harder to come across. So the fact that a place like Germany, which, let's be real, that's a pretty large and sizable country, can't get this game physically from places that they usually are able to because of the limited pre-orders of this game is definitely very concerning, because it's going to stunt the overall sales of this game and make the availability of this game just harder to come by. But the second story is definitely a much bigger situation. A UK retailer called Base, which is a pretty sizable operation out of the UK, is now experiencing issues with pre-orders, and while they've had to cancel all of their pre-orders, this has been confirmed by a few different people, and it was basically a thread over on Reset Era where an email went out saying the following: "We have just been notified of our allocation for Super Mario 3D All-Stars for Nintendo Switch, and it is woefully short. This is very disappointing, and it is with great regret that we have to inform you that we will be able to unfulfill your order on the day of release. Further, as Nintendo and their UK distributors are unable to give us any reassurance that more stock will be available after release, we have taken the regrettable decision to cancel all pre-orders." So yes, now you're starting to see pre-orders being canceled at various retailers. And I know some people are saying, oh, well, just buy it from Amazon of UK. Amazon of UK still has pre-orders up, even though it went down. It is now back up to where you can pre-order things on Amazon of UK for Super Mario 3D All-Stars. I have purchased various things from Amazon before that were supposed to come out on release day, and they weren't able to fulfill the amount of pre-orders, so it ended up getting delayed or potentially canceled. I'm still waiting on stuff in Amazon right now that I have ordered that ended up never coming, that I honestly just completely forgot about. So all because you're able to get your pre-order in with Amazon of UK doesn't necessarily mean that that pre-order is going to be fulfilled. It doesn't mean that you're going to get your product on release day or even in a timely manner. But obviously the bigger issue with this is that Base is reporting that they don't seem to be getting a second shipment of Super Mario 3D All-Stars in, meaning that they're getting an initial shipment and then that's pretty much it. You usually see smaller companies do this with things like physical releases. I remember Raiden 5 on the Nintendo Switch was a limited physical release. They did one run of it and then that was it. You could only purchase the game on the eShop from there on out unless you get it from a secondhand seller. But that's a Raiden game. That's a small game. We're talking about Super Mario here. We're talking about Super Mario 3D All-Stars, arguably one of the biggest games of 2020. I just don't understand this philosophy that Nintendo is doing with this limited release of the game. Yes, you could still buy the game digitally, and yes, maybe it's not a big deal to you, but for people who like to get games physically, it is something worth talking about. I just kind of want to throw this analogy out there because I think it's a really interesting one. If a company like EA said that the Mass Effect trilogy was coming out, but it was only going to be available for 6 months, and they're only doing one limited shipment of physical products and then you could buy it digitally and then it's gone forever, would people be okay with that? If Activision did that with a Call of Duty game, would people be okay with that? I don't think so. I mean, people would be very outspoken and confused by this. It seems like Nintendo is just on this pedestal to where people can't talk any sort of negativity about Nintendo with their business practices. I honestly feel that this is a very strange decision, and yes, I'm going to have the game on day one, but I'm able able to sympathize with people who maybe have to wait for money to come in order to get a video game, or who don't want to get the game within the first 6 months because of whatever they're dealing with, and then they don't have the option to buy the game physically. They don't have the game available to buy digitally either. Look what's happening with Scott Pilgrim versus the World. That game was available digitally for quite a while and then was pulled, and it was actually pulled for a legitimate reason because of licensing issues. Well, Ubisoft managed to get Scott Pilgrim back, and now everyone's excited because they're able to buy this limited game that was available for a while on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. They're now able to get it on their modern console. With the Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection, you don't know if that's going to be a possibility. There is no Nintendo Switch Online service for N64, Wii, and GameCube games yet. I think if Nintendo will come out and say something about the limited availability and talk about the digital release and what the plan is after the initial 6 months of this game, I think people would be a lot more understanding and sympathetic towards the situation. But Nintendo's silence on this and just sort of leaving it up in the air for people to interpret whether or not this game is going to actually be released again is very strange and very puzzling to me. So if you're someone who isn't affected by this and this isn't a big deal to you, congratulations. You know, I completely respect that and I completely understand it. But just as a business practice overall, I think it's pretty scummy what Nintendo is doing with this game. I think it should be a widely released game, because if any other game did this sort of thing where it was only available for 6 months physically and digitally, and physical supplies of this game seem to be constrained as well, people would be very upset by this. You have to hold Nintendo to a high standard because, well, at the end of the day, they're a business. They don't necessarily care about you, they care about profits. But let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this situation. Have you had any problems with pre-ordering Super Mario 3D All-Stars? Because really, it's going to be a great game. I'm still looking forward to it, even though they could have put a little more time and effort into it. They could have given me that widescreen support on Super Mario 64, but I am able to see the shortcomings with this game, such as the whole physical availability of it and the limited release of it. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Check out other videos on the channel as well, and as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.